Uh, Hello, Virgo. The circumstance you've been analyzing endlessly, the dynamic you've been trying to understand, the relationship or situation that's been consuming your mental and emotional energy, you already know the truth about it, but you've been avoiding that truth, rationalizing around it, constructing elaborate explanations that allow you to avoid accepting what you already see, because accepting it would require action you're not ready to take or would force you to grieve loss you don't want to acknowledge. But avoidance is costing you more than facing truth would cost. So here's what you need to hear, spoken directly without the gentle cushioning you've been giving yourself. This person isn't confused about their feelings, they're just not that into you, and they're keeping you available as option while they explore what they actually want. This job isn't going to suddenly appreciate you. They've shown you repeatedly through their actions, not their words, that they don't value you enough to compensate or promote you properly. This friendship isn't mutual. You're doing all the work while they show up when convenient and disappear when you need them. Whatever your version of this situation is, the truth is clear, and you're pretending it's not clear because clarity would force choice you're avoiding. Let me describe what time to hear the truth actually means and why avoiding it is destroying you. Slowly. First, you know the truth already, deep down, in quiet moments when you're honest with yourself, when you can't distract, when defenses drop. You know that person who says they need time actually means I'm not choosing you, but I don't want to lose access to you. You know that company that keeps promising soon about promotion or raise is just placating you. You know that friend who's too busy for you but somehow available for others doesn't actually prioritize your friendship. You already know, but you've built elaborate structure of alternative explanations. Maybe they're just scared of intimacy. Maybe the company is going through a difficult period. Maybe my friend is dealing with stuff I don't know about. And while those alternative explanations might have grain of truth, they're primarily shields. Protection from having to face painful reality. You're not getting what you want from this situation, and you're probably never going to get it. Um, Second, the fucking in the message isn't just emphasis, it's anger at the situation, at the person treating you poorly, at yourself for tolerating it. Because tolerating this situation when you know it's not serving you, that's self betrayal. That's choosing comfort of familiar disappointment over discomfort of necessary change. And self betrayal creates rage at them for how they're treating you, at yourself for allowing it. Let's pause here. This reflection invites you to consider, what situation in your life are you knowing the truth about but pretending you don't? Maybe romantic situation where you keep waiting for them to commit, to be consistent, to choose you fully. But months or years pass and nothing changes except the excuses. Or professional situation where you keep hoping for recognition, advancement, fair treatment, but you're constantly passed over, undercompensated, taken advantage of. Or friendship where you keep giving and supporting and showing up, but reciprocity never comes and you're left feeling used and unvalued. Or family dynamic where you keep trying to fix relationship, to earn love or respect or acceptance, but patterns never shift, no matter how much you adapt or accomplish. Or financial situation where you keep hoping circumstances will improve on their own, but without actual changes in how you handle money or what you pursue, nothing shifts. Or personal pattern where you keep telling yourself you'll change soon, but months pass and you're still engaging in behavior you know isn't serving you. This reflection invites you to consider, what are you afraid would happen if you fully accepted the truth you're avoiding? Maybe you'd have to end relationship you've invested years in, walk away from job that's killing you but that feels safe, cut off person you love who doesn't love you back the same way. Accept that dream isn't going to manifest the way you hoped, and those losses feel too big, too painful, too final. So you stay in limbo, not fully in, not fully out. Just suffering in middle space that's somehow become familiar enough to tolerate. But here's what that middle space is actually costing you: it's costing you energy, mental bandwidth spent on analyzing, explaining, justifying situation instead of on building actual good things in your life. Emotional energy spent on managing constant low level anxiety, disappointment, hope, despair cycles instead of on experiencing actual joy and peace. It's costing you opportunities. While you're waiting for this person to choose you, you're unavailable to people who would actually choose you. While you're giving this job one more chance, you're not pursuing positions that would actually value you. It's costing you time, years sometimes, years you could be living instead of waiting, building instead of hoping, thriving instead of surviving. And it's costing you self respect because some part of you knows you're accepting less than you deserve, knows you're betraying yourself by staying, and that knowing creates shame that corrodes your sense of worth. Here's the truth about your specific situation, and this applies regardless of whether it's romantic, professional, familial, or personal pattern. If they wanted to, they would. If company valued you, they'd compensate you accordingly. If person loved you the way you love them, their actions would reflect it consistently, not just occasionally. If friendship was mutual, you wouldn't be doing all the initiating and maintaining. Complicated circumstances usually means not a priority. Bad timing usually means not interested enough to make it work. I'm working on it usually means I'm not actually working on it, but I want you to stop pressuring me. And you deserve better than what you're receiving. Not because you're perfect, not because you've earned it through suffering, but because baseline, decent treatment, respect, reciprocity, honesty, follow through is what you should expect, not what you should feel grateful for. On rare occasions, it appears. So, this reflection invites you to consider, if your best friend was in this exact situation, what would you tell them to do? You'd probably tell them to leave, to stop waiting, to choose themselves, to recognize they deserve better, to cut their losses and move forward. But when it's you, suddenly all these reasons to stay appear, all this hope that things might change, all this fear of what happens if you walk away. That double standard reveals something important. You're being more forgiving and patient with situation than you'd ever encourage someone you love to be. And that excessive patience is actually harm, not virtue. What you need to do the action, that accepting truth requires decide clearly, definitively. Not, I'll see how things go, not, I'll give it a little more time. Decide either you're staying with full acceptance of situation as it is, not as you hope it becomes, or you're leaving. Both are valid choices, but limbo is not. Limbo is slow death. If you stay, stop complaining, stop hoping they'll change, stop analyzing. Just accept this is what situation is and choose to be in it anyway with open eyes. That acceptance might reveal you actually can't stay once you stop lying to yourself about what you're accepting. If you leave, commit fully. No looking back. No maybe if I just. No keeping door cracked. Close it. Grieve. And move forward into space that opens when you release what isn't serving you. Communicate clearly. If you're ending something, end it explicitly. Don't fade. Don't ghost unless safety requires it. Don't leave them wondering, this isn't working for me. I need to move on. I deserve more than what this situation provides. I'm choosing myself, and that means ending this. Clean endings allow clean healing and address the pattern that got you here. Because this probably isn't first time you've tolerated less than you deserve. Probably not first time you've stayed too long in wrong situation. What pattern keeps you accepting insufficient? Fear of being alone, belief you can't do better, addiction to potential over reality, low self-worth, codependency. That pattern will recreate this situation again unless you address it through therapy, self-work, conscious change. This reflection invites you to consider, what would choosing yourself look like in this situation? Not choosing them, not choosing hope, not choosing comfort, choosing yourself. Maybe it looks like leaving. Maybe it looks like setting boundaries you've been afraid to set. Maybe it looks like having confrontation you've been avoiding. Maybe it looks like accepting reality and grieving while planning exit. But it definitely doesn't look like more of what you've been doing. More waiting, more accepting, more rationalizing, more hoping things will magically shift without you taking action. Let me be very direct about common variations of this fucking situation. Romantic, they're breadcrumbing you, giving just enough to keep you interested, but never enough to actually build relationship, keeping you as backup option. You deserve someone who chooses you clearly and consistently, not someone who keeps you in rotation. They're exploiting your dedication, taking your excellent work while paying you less than you're worth, promising growth that never materializes. You deserve compensation and recognition that matches your contribution, not empty promises. It's one-sided. You're the emotional support, the planner, the one who shows up. They're the one who receives without reciprocating. You deserve mutual friendships where effort and care flow both directions. Family, the dynamic is toxic and your attempts to fix it are futile because you can't single-handedly change system that doesn't want to change. You deserve to protect yourself even from family if family is harmful. Personal pattern, you keep doing thing you know isn't serving you, overspending, over drinking, overworking, self-sabotaging while telling yourself you'll change. You deserve to actually get help instead of just feeling bad about pattern while continuing it. You remain in complete control of whether you face truth or continue avoiding it. You can accept reality and act accordingly, or you can keep pretending things are different than they are. The power is yours. It always has been. You may notice reading this has created defensive reaction, maybe anger at being called out, maybe resistance to accepting it applies to you, maybe justifications flooding in about why your situation is different. Whatever you're feeling, honor it. Take what resonates, softly release the rest. Trust yourself. Before we close, I want to ask you something. What truth about your current situation have you been avoiding that you know you need to face? Drop it in the comments if you're brave enough. And this, what would have to happen for you to finally choose yourself and act on the truth you already know? I think it's time you hear the truth about this fucking situation, because you already know what's real, but you've been avoiding it through elaborate explanations and false hope, and that avoidance is costing you energy, opportunities, time, and self-respect. And the only way forward is facing truth directly, making clear decision to stay with full acceptance or leave with full commitment, and addressing the pattern that got you here so you don't recreate this situation again. Not eventually, now, today. Trust yourself with this trust that you can handle truth even when truth is painful. Trust that choosing yourself isn't selfish, it's necessary. Trust that walking away from wrong thing creates space for right thing. Trust that you deserve better than what you've been accepting. See you in the next one. And listen, stop lying to yourself. Stop making excuses for people or situations that don't deserve them. Face truth. Make choice. Act on it. Your future self will thank you for having courage to end what needed ending. Stay honest. Stay brave. Stay worthy. You know the truth. Stop pretending you don't. Take care.